Welcome to the Board Game Snobs podcast. Critically harsh reviews with a touch of class.
Put your hands up in the air like you just don't care. But you do care about board games. Thank you for listening to the Board Game Snobs. My name is Jerry.
I'm Gabby.
And today we are talking about our favorite party games. Don't do that. I don't even know what that is.
Remember to raise your palms upward towards the ceiling?
Yes, I know that. But
You don't know what it is?
I've heard people do it, but I don't know what started it.
I don't either.
Who invented
Or we could go,
Now that I know. And
What?
that's annoying.
That's a DJ,
The
DJ
blowhorn.
horn?
Yeah. The air horn.
I like to use it with my mouth mostly.
No. There's certain sounds. You're not. What's that guy off Police Academy that was always making the sound effects? You're not that guy.
No, I don't want to be.
And
Bring, bring.
no.
You got something on your phone?
No.
You were looking at your phone.
I was looking at my phone, but I put my phone on silence.
Is it because I went bring, bring, and
now
you thought it was your phone?
That's exactly what happened. Yeah, that sounded like my
Very
Samsung
good.
going off just then. Good job. I'm going to record
Fine.
you doing that and make that my ringtone of you. Just FYI.
Don't make me mad. I'm going to walk away. Clip, clop, clip, clop, clip, clop. Wait, a horse goes clip, clop.
Just to say. Do you remember have you ever watched Monty Python? The
Yes.
Search for the Holy Grail?
Yeah, it's a long time ago.
Where they had the coconuts cut in half.
Oh, yeah.
Clack, clack. You know, they clacked when like they was on a horse.
Yeah.
The first time I saw that, I thought, how ingenious. When you just don't have a horse, but you want to
Yeah.
feel like you have a horse.
I used to do that with your hands. You slap your hands against your chest or your arms.
I've never done that.
Really?
Put your wine glass down. And off
You
Gobby
never did
rides off into the
I owe
sunset.
silver. Really?
No.
I used to do that all the time when I was a kid.
Well,
I don't know if that came through on the microphone. I should have.
yeah, we'll
Pointed
have
towards
to
it.
amplify your horse hooves.
Well, by the time this comes out, we'll have gone through our week of being featured on Podbean.
Oh, yeah. I forgot we're going to be featured on Podbean.
Or I could hustle and get this out before.
Nah, let's not.
Okay.
Uh,
I got one that's I just worked on. Should be out last week.
mainly because I don't want us to become so
weeks ago.
mainstream
No.
that we become popular and then we're just part of the boys club.
I don't want to do that.
No, because then people will start expecting quality content
No.
and regularity,
And knowledge.
knowledge, and a more consistent opinion about things.
No.
We
I like
don't
to
want
vary.
that. Miss me with that.
I like to be loose cannons.
Yes.
That's where we operate best.
Yeah, we're in the shadows.
We don't even sometimes I'll have something on my mind and I'll bring it up slightly, then forget all about it about halfway through because we've gotten sidetracked about something else. And then some games, we just barely graze in discussions. We don't even talk about who makes them or anything or how they're played sometimes even. We just reference them.
I like that we've done. I like pretty much that we have. I've listened to some of our old podcasts, and we actually did a review of. I was like, "Hey, do you remember this?" You're like, "Yeah, that was great. Yeah, it was." And then we start talking about something else.
We just give you a brief overview of whether or not we liked it, and we may go into more detail or not.
Well, if you're listening to us, then you must know by now that if our tastes are similar, then you can trust us, and if they are not, then
Side with me.
no.
What?
They don't side with you; they'll side with somebody else.
Why?
Just because it's the way it works. You're either with me or you're against me. So we're talking about party games, which are my least favorite types of games.
Really?
Yes, fun fact.
You don't like fun? So you don't like that fact?
I just made
A fact of which I do not like.
not all. It's true. Not all facts are fun. Like
No,
you
why not?
realize that more people get killed by falling coconuts each year than by sharks.
I've heard that before.
I've heard that before.
And also, diarrhea has
What
a
about-
devastating effect on humanity.
dysentery.
Yes. Is that what that would
That's
be?
what everybody
the
on
technical term
going,
is called?
going on the Oregon Trail died of dysentery.
Really?
Yep.
I did not know that was what dysentery was.
Yeah, it's diarrhea.
Really?
They
So
didn't
is that the medical term for it?
It's just no. It's a type of. Why are we talking about this? It's a type of diarrhea that's particularly
know.
explosive, and it dehydrates you to such an extent that you finally just give away to hypovolemia.
Well, you went dark, and so I talked about what I knew of people dying of
How did
that most people just don't think about.
All right, so
We went from party games to dying of dysentery.
well, let me say a lot of party games are like dysentery because it seems like it's easy to. I don't know how I'm going to use this analogy, and I'm swinging for it.
No
It's
segue?
Yes,
No
there's
segue available for you?
There's no segue for dysentery and
If
party
only
games.
Job was here.
No.
Get it?
What?
Really?
Who?
You watch Arrested Development?
I do not.
What?
I watched it a long time ago.
Job was always on that Segway?
Oh, Job. Yeah.
yes.
He rode the Segway. Yeah, that's my hero. I liked him.
Somebody will appreciate that.
Yeah, but not us.
Arrested Development was a good show, though.
Party games. Party games. We are going to briefly discuss party games that we feel are at the very least decent and some that we have fallen out of love with over the years. So if you're just now listening to us and you're trying to build up your party games collection, I believe that you should have at least 1 or 2 party games available to you. Gabi, it looks like you're ready. Go ahead.
No, I was just pulling them up on Board Game Geek.
Oh.
I know what I have in my possession.
I do as well.
And I know there's some on Board Game Geek that we've had in our possession that we no longer have.
Yes. Another fun fact.
Here we go.
Well, actually, this is not that fun. It's more of moderately interesting. One of my first modern party games that I ever owned was a little game called Coup, which was the first hidden role game I'd ever played. Now, Coup is very interesting because you get dealt 2 cards, kind of like in Blackjack. There are about 5 different roles throughout the game, if I'm not mistaken. Those 2 cards are your lives. If you end up losing both your lives, you're out. And you basically are taking actions, claiming to have this particular card in your hand. For instance, if you're an ambassador, if you have an ambassador card in your hand, it allows you to swap out your cards in the deck. And so you basically just declare to everybody at the table, I have an ambassador card and I'm swapping out my cards. And somebody can look you dead in the eye and try to determine if you're lying. And if you're lying and you get called out, you lose a life, you flip up a card. It was a very simple, easy game to understand, but there was some gaminess to it, if that makes sense. It was something that I felt like, but the one thing that killed Coup for me is that the best person doesn't always win, i.e. I didn't win that much. And it was killed by another game, which I'll mention here later.
Hard to be humble. Coup, the first time I played it, me, you, Enrique, DJ, Bubba, and I loved it. Absolutely loved it. It was kind of almost, it's hard to describe. It's taken from the Resistance universe. So you have a hidden role of the Resistance characters.
Mm-hmm.
Is that right? I think that's right.
Well, the Resistance and Coup are by the same people.
Okay, maybe that's just what I'm thinking.
Which I enjoyed the Resistance as well, but it was also
the
killed.
Same art or whatever. But yeah, then I tried to explain it to another group of people. And you never know how quote unquote gamey a game is.
I like that term, gamey.
Until you're trying to explain to people, because it's like, I was like, oh, cool, that's a super simple game. Then you try to explain to people, and people that aren't,
Smart.
No.
Attentive.
Hobby gamers or designer gamers, whatever you want to call it.
They're called losers.
You're so judgmental.
I'm not judgmental. I'm telling it like it is.
Oh, is that what it's
That's
called?
What it is.
And yeah, it's a little more difficult. Because, like, the things, it's just hard. Plus, also, I'm not good at describbing things.
You're not.
As I'm doing right now.
You're not.
So that may be part of the problem.
Here's the thing. As you started talking, I took a drink of my coffee, and I literally have no idea what game you're talking about. I've been waiting.
But yeah, so Coup is good. I still have it in my collection. It plays up to 6. So we said 6 or more is considered a party game as far as we are concerned.
Wow. I think a party game to me is any game that's lighthearted enough and that can include, well, yeah, I guess at least 5 to 6 people.
I mean, I know there's heavy, like Viticulture plays 6, but it's not a party game.
Party game.
We're talking about in the spirit of party games, but Coup plays 6. And you can get expansions that make it bump it up to more. It up to more.
You shouldn't boop it up to more.
Okay. All right. Coup on the list. Oh, so do you still have it in your possession?
I still have it in my possession, but I never play it because it was killed by Skull. And so I think Skull is a much more accessible party game.
Plays 6 people.
Yes. Does it play 6 people or just 5? I can't remember.
It plays up to 6. For some reason in my brain, I always think 5, but it plays 6.
Okay. Well, just add more coasters.
And if you add more coasters, I was thinking this. You could literally have a piece of paper mark X on one side and nothing on the other side and make that the game.
I played Coup one time with a deck of cards, and I just took out 3 number. I took out 3 number cards and a face card and said, "All right, there you go."
That's it.
And handed that to each person.
Because the skulls might be off-putting to some people. They're like, "Oh, what's this?
Yeah,
this death?
Dead.
I think we had this discussion before on our previous podcast.
Yeah.
What's the Day of the Dead?
De la Mortes?
Something like that.
I don't know.
Anyway.
Mother's Day. No, my mother's still alive.
Mother-in-law.
Oh, no, I love my mother-in-law.
I do to mine as well. To all those listening.
You like your mother-in-law?
I love my mother-in-law. She treats me very well, except for when we were first dating.
You were dating your mother-in-law? That's awkward. So you broke up with her and be like, oh, no, I'll get you back. You got any kids? That's really messed up.
No.
Perhaps you should. You're terrible at describing things. Why are you laughing so hard? That was not a good joke. That was not that funny. It was not that funny.
When me and my wife were first dating,
Yes.
my mother-in-law come up to me and was refilling my radiator with...
Wait a minute.
With, what do you call it?
Fluid? Radiator fluid?
Coolant? Whatever it's
Coolant,
called.
yes. Why was your mother performing maintenance on your car?
She loves to work.
And so you just popped her and said, hey,
She loves to make
taking your daughter out to Chili's. Do you mind topping me off? I mean, what does that work?
kick my tires
Check
and check
the
my radiator.
belt's squeaking too.
She does all that.
Wow.
She loves to maintain things. She just works nonstop.
So she just thought you might need some coolant.
You know how Gina's always vacuuming or something when you
Yeah.
come over? She's always working. She's always busy. She gets it from her mom. Her mom stays busy doing something. She is a hard worker. When me and Gina first started dating, she was talking, I don't know why. She just went out. She asked me, have you checked your radiator fluid lately? I'm like, no, I'm not. I don't care. I don't know anything about cars. So she goes out there and she has the green fluid. And I said, that looks like limeade. And she said, yeah, you want to drink it? And she tried to kill me right off the bat. But ever since then, we're good. She takes care of my cars.
I noticed that your car was detailed all the time. I wondered why your car was always clean.
She cooks very well for me.
Wow. Speaking of cars, one of my favorite.
But that's a fine example of what we just said. We didn't talk about anything about Skull.
Well,
we
what?
did.
Did we talk
mentioned
about
it.
Skull? Skull's an awesome game. But speaking of cars, one of my favorite.
Oh my God.
One of my.
So you're just going to blow right past Skull. We've discussed Skull in the past.
Where I'm segueing this.
If we had marked stuff in the past, I'm going to start with the last podcast.
Which is the last one?
BGG's Low Lights by Jerry.
By Jerry.
I'm going to try and put the games discussed in the notes.
And
the show
disgusting
notes.
games. Pit Crew.
All right,
Pit
so
Crew.
what-
I
okay.
love Pit Crew. I'm tired of talking about your housekeeping
Okay,
and your
I'm not
mother-in-law
saying
and your coolant and how
I
you
was
used to
going back to
date
Skull.
as you used to date your mother-in-law and you made it super weird. I want to talk about Pit Crew.
You made it weird.
Pit Crew.
Pit Crew. Let me write that down for our show notes.
Oh, we're
make
doing
that a-
show notes now.
That's what I'm
I
saying.
told you we are coming way too mainstream.
Show
You're having to
notes.
do show notes.
People are all about oh, why don't you list the stuff you talk about? Miss me with that list and stuff.
Why we got to list everything? If you want to list,
That was Joe G, I think.
if you want to list, that's
One
the
of the
Dice
first
Tower thing. They do a top 10 list like every third day of the week.
Well,
Our top 10 favorite lists.
hey, you know what? They're successful.
They're not successful. They just have an audience.
They raised $250,000 on their Kickstarter.
So you think money defines your success?
Oh, it sure helps.
It doesn't me.
Oh, it doesn't.
I will go down knowing.
What do you define as success?
I have not.
This is at least our third podcast straight. We've mentioned the Dice Tower.
Who? I define success by 1, not selling out. I have my integrity.
Okay, not selling out.
2, I spend time playing games that I want to play, not games that I'm either paid to play or I feel like I have to play so I can review them.
And that's why we'll never be big and popular.
And
Go ahead.
3, I don't have to always keep up this persona of being something. Like if we were an actual board game reviewers, we'd have to put on a show. Like you'd
Like what?
you'd have to wear a hat and do funny things that were not you, and that become your thing.
Zoinka, zoinka.
See, stop.
See you later, folks.
No, stop.
That's my catch line.
We're cutting that.
That's my catchphrase.
No, we're cutting that.
Zoinka, zoinka.
That was terrible.
That's my catchphrase.
That's not a catchphrase.
I'm starting it now.
And see, this is why.
Whenever you introduce me from now on, I'm going to go, zoinka, zoinka.
This is why I couldn't work with you.
Zoinka, zoinka. Let me write that down in the show notes.
This is why we are never going to be.
Our podcast gets progressively worse the longer we record. Just saying.
Well, that's why I like to do short.
No, too short. 40 minutes. That's what we're shooting for.
Pit Crew's an awesome game.
Pit Crew by Jeff Engelstein.
Geoff. Egglestein.
Gilf.
And the object of the game is basically you're performing maintenance on a race car using cards. So you have your little
It's
board.
basically the old game of Speed, if you ever played that.
Yes, and I love Speed.
Me
Not
too.
the drug.
Me too.
But
No.
you
Phentermines are good, though.
when you
I
play
lost lots of weight on Phentermine.
and it will help you play Pit
And
Crew
I
because you
gained
got to
it
be
all
really,
back,
really
too.
fast.
Hey.
With Pit Crew, as you're with a partner trying to meet the numbers on your card, like your tire will be like a 13, if that makes sense.
Yes.
So you have to lay out cards in sequence up to 13. Is that correct? It's been a
I
while.
believe that's it.
Okay.
I don't know. I'll have to break out the game and check it out. It's been a while since I've played it. But we get the idea. Sequential numbers, go.
I like.
Oh, my bad.
Was that you making that noise? That was really good.
Talk about Pit Crew while I talk on the phone.
There's nothing to talk about, Pit Crew. I
You want me to pause it?
I can't. Oh, go ahead. No, let's leave. Go talk on the phone. Talk on the phone. This is why we will never have an audience, because Gabi just left the studio, which the studio happens to be his extra bedroom with his signed autograph copy of the blonde chick from Battlestar Galactica hanging up on the wall, and
I'm back.
Captain Sisko. Who? Benjamin.
Back.
What was the guy that played Captain Sisko?
Avery Brooks.
Avery Brooks.
But yeah, didn't even have to look.
I know. Well, you have his photo up there.
Well, but apparently, I asked my friend when she got that autograph. I said, "Have him write, yes, Captain Moraga or something." And he said to her, she asked him to write that. He said to her, if he wanted that written, he should have come himself.
Nice.
He did. I was like, whoa, he's pretty hardcore.
Well,
Don't mess with Cisco.
Look, he didn't take care of Cardassians for that long to come to put up with you. Man.
But I mostly remember him from, what was the show he was on? He was almost like an Equalizer type character.
Oh, I don't remember him in anything but that.
Oh, really?
He'll always be
It
Captain
was like
Sisko
an
to me.
80s show. But
No,
anyway,
no.
Go ahead.
Okay, moving on for the Pit Crew.
Coup?
Pit
Coup?
Just stop it.
Coup, Skull, Pit Crew. What's next?
Probably my favorite deduction game that's also a party game that we have not played in a long time, and I hold you responsible for this, is Deception Murder at Hong Kong.
I've played it more recently than you.
And tell me about it.
I love it. It's very exciting. Instead of like in Mafia, where you're,
Which is okay.
which is okay, aka also known as Werewolf, however you want to describe it, which Werewolf, according to Board Game Geek Top 100, is 98.
What?
It's 98. The game of
Werewolf is fun.
I love Werewolf / Mafia. We always play it the Mafia way. Actually, Mafia is probably what got me into this style of gaming.
I do like Mafia.
The hidden
roll.
row. But Deception Murder in Hong Kong is very good. You have all these cards in front of you. I think you can do 4 to 6 cards in front of you, and they're all items. And you'll do, it's like Resistance. You say, all right, everybody close your eyes. Okay. The murderer will open his eyes, pick 2 of the cards. Basically, they're supposed to be different, but they're kind of the same. If you've played it, you know what I'm talking about. If you haven't played it, just trust me. It's a good game. So you'll pick these 2 cards. Then you say, okay, depending on how you play, you can have an accomplice for the murderer. And then you have a person that you know that knows who the murderer is. So they'll open their eyes, and I'll say, okay, and I'll point to the murderer, kind of like the Resistance.
Mm-hmm.
You have the spies, you have the other people. And then depending again on the game you play, you might have an accomplice for the detective. But anyway, so then everybody opens their eyes, and the person that knows is trying to lead everyone to the proper person. Right?
Right.
Don't fall asleep on me yet.
No, I'm good. I got this.
So he's trying to be nonchalant about, I think Jerry is the murderer. So he knows who the murderer is, but the problem, he doesn't know which 2 cards he's chosen. So that's the evidence. So you have to get the evidence just right. You have to name those 2 cards. Basically, like Clue, you have to say, I think he did it with this
Coat
and
hanger
this.
and a hammer.
Yes. If you don't get that right, then the person, the forensic scientist, that's the person taking the lead in the game,
That's
the narrator.
the guy in CSI.
He says, even if you guess one of them right. Now I've done forgot how it plays.
I know you have confused
but
us
it's
all.
real vague.
It's
It's
very vague.
real hard to get it right.
Much like yourself.
Yes, but nonetheless, I have the base game, and every time we've played it, it's been good.
I like it.
Again, I guess I've played it with good people. I think I've played it 5 times now. It's worked out every time.
Really?
Every time. People are into it. They're into the characters. It's fun. Now, if the person actually gets picked, if the 2 cards he chose, people say, I think he did it with this and this. And even if that's right, he still has a chance to pick out the witness.
No, that's the part that I like. Pick out the witness.
So if he says, I think you're the one that is the witness, you know,
yes.
you've known all along.
Yeah.
So you can't be too obvious.
That's the part of the game I like the best.
That's what makes it a little interesting.
I like the best.
Deception Murder Hong Kong is probably, if I was to do a top whatever, it's probably in my top 5 for sure.
Top 5 of whatever. Nice.
Probably.
Nice. Well, what's your top whatever? Well, Deception. And I like donuts,
Cheeseburgers,
bagels,
Nissan Maxima, and Deception Murder Hong Kong.
There you go.
My top 5
whatever. We need to do that one day. Our top 5 whatever. Just have a list of 5 things that we just really enjoy.
Done.
All right, write that down. Put that in the show notes.
Top 5 whatever.
I liked Secret Hitler or Secret Sith if you reskin it off BGG. If you don't like the Nazi liberal theme, they do the Secret Sith. I thought that was cool. Finding out who the Sith is.
I like that idea.
Having a Star Wars theme
That'd be
to
cool.
it. I think that's cool. I enjoyed Secret Hitler or Secret Sith more than I should, because it's a broken game in my opinion. It doesn't work out each round. There are some, but the game is so quick that when you have a bad game, it's like 10 minutes of your life and that's it, and it's done, and you move on to the next, and the next one might be awesome.
I don't think I liked that one all that much.
I thoroughly enjoyed it, but I will say that it was not. It killed the resistance for me. It was not. It's not a solid game in terms of its mechanics.
It did not kill resistance.
It killed resistance. To be straight up, there's no reason I'd ever play resistance again.
Never again.
Viva la resistance.
But resistance plays more people. Secret Hitler only plays.
No, it plays a lot. It plays like 10.
It does? Oh, okay.
Yeah, it plays almost more than resistance.
Did on number 92 on Board Game Geek? Did you ever play Strike at BGG where you throw the dice?
the little bowling game. Yeah, I love that game. That's cool.
That's number 92. I don't own it. You don't own it.
But it was fun.
But it plays. It only plays 5 players.
It's a party game.
It's listed under BGG's party games.
All right, I want to go. All right, stop. Just stop. I want to tell you about BGG lists.
Go ahead.
You cannot go by that if you're new to the board game community, to get on BGG and to look at the lists and to go off of their top 10. That is just wholesale manipulation. There is just all right. For instance,
Jerry coming hard.
Through the Ages.
Go.
2 different editions were in the top 10 at one point in time. You cannot tell me Through the Ages is one of the greatest board games of all time. You cannot tell me that.
No, wait. Did you say you cannot tell me it's one of the greatest board games of all time?
Yeah, it's good, but it's not great. I need to teach you how to play it. I've played the app more than I have the actual board game. But it's just not. I just don't think it's this. People who like to vote and who are active in the community is what drives up these games.
Because Pandemic Legacy Season 1 was the number 1 game forever.
Oh.
Yeah, let's play Pandemic. Okay, well, I won't exaggerate. 24 times at the most with slight variations. And that's the best game ever?
Best game ever?
No.
Best game ever?
Pandemic.
Oh, yeah.
There's,
don't
get us started.
Pandemic.
Don't get us started.
Don't you just love that Pandemic? I hate Pandemic. I mean, I don't hate it. It
has its place.
It has its place. It is a good cooperative game.
It's good to introduce people to.
It's a nice solo game even. It's a nice little puzzle.
Yes.
But it is.
Don't tell me it's the best game of all time. No.
No. It's definitely not.
Wow. We came out on that one.
I know. You came out pretty hard. Zeke Garcia somewhere is crying.
One that you have in your collection that is recent to you.
To me.
Roach Poker. Tell me about it.
It's a kid's game more than just a party game, but you have.
Why do you say it's a kid's game?
Because it's designed to be played with small children.
How small?
Well, like
3 feet and under?
No, I'm talking like 6, 7, 8 years old.
Oh.
It's funner with that. I played it with adults, and it was not as good. But basically, you have a handful of cards. The cards have all these different bugs, cockroaches, spiders, stink bugs, whatever they might be. You lay a card down and you pass it to the next person face down. You say, this is a scorpion. And they can call you out and say, you're lying, or they can agree with you and say, yes, it probably is. Or they can just pass it on to the next person. The thing is that if you're wrong, if they catch you in the lie or tell you it's true, then you end up having to put the card face up in front of you. You get 4 of a kind to believe it is, and you're dead. You're over. The game's over. So there's only like one loser and everybody else is a winner. So you're purposely feeding people cards, trying to get them a set of 4 cards of a certain type of bug. It was fine. It's for younger kids. It's not something that I would play. I'd rather play a actual trick-taking game. And I do not like trick-taking games. I am not a fan of trick-taking games. No. I remember diamonds. I remember you teaching me diamonds.
Yes.
Nothing wrong with it, but I'm not a trick.
Hearts, spades. It's all the same thing.
They're all the same thing. They're all the same thing. I'm just not big into trick-taking games. But that being said, it just wasn't just the greatest party game.
But it's in your collection.
Well, I have it for my kids. I have little kids.
Okay.
Dead Last. I am like the only person that I think here recently that had any fun with Dead Last. I do not know why it has gotten so much hate.
We discussed it in our earlier podcasts.
Yes, and I don't know why it got so much hate.
If you don't like long, drawn-out versions of Mafia, play Dead Last. It's as quick and to the point. You just basically pick a person. Yes. You try to be sneaky about it. Say, hey, we're voting this person out. And you think you're going to be successful? Bam, it's you.
I just like the fact that you're sitting at a table and you're coming up with trying to convince people that are right in front of you to do something to somebody else. And I mean, it is. The game creates tension immediately.
It's good. I love it.
It's kind of like how with Happy Salmon, you get out of breath, just run around doing stupid stuff.
Yes.
Dead Last, as soon as you're at the table and you have to lean over to someone and say, hey, let's knock off Bubba, vote for Bubba. And you're trying to it just immediately, things get tense. People start yelling. At some point in time, you get killed off when you were 100% sure. Yes. Everybody votes for you. And
the last game I played, I could have sworn several times throughout the game, I was like, to my left, hey, vote for Brown. To my right, hey, vote for Brown. Yeah. We're good. Bam, it was me. They voted me out. But what's good is if you feel it's you can play these, I forget what they're called. Ambush cards. You can play the ambush card, and if the majority have voted for you, and you've played the ambush card, you played correctly.
You survive.
You then get to pick someone else that voted for you to boot out of the game.
But if you pick the ambush card and it was indeed not you, you basically shot yourself. You're out. Which is hilarious.
It's good. It is quick, fast, fun, and just talking about it, I've forgotten how much I enjoyed this game. It's been a while.
I remember the first time I played it. We played with the full complement.
Yeah, it's been a long time.
And he was just yelling at people. I took it to work, and people are vicious.
Yeah.
It's a vicious game. And that's the one thing I didn't realize, and it hurt some people's feelings.
That's what I was going to say.
It was vicious.
We played with some people. The last time I played it, we played with some people that are pretty sensitive
Pansies?
Sometimes.
I'm sorry, what? No. I was talking about flowers.
They're just a little more sensitive than other folks.
That was not very inclusive of me. So far, I have talked about pansies, losers, exclusive. And people who aren't hobbyists. I'm very sorry. I'm not being very... I realize...
You're being very snobbish.
I'm being very snobbish. And although that is the title of our podcast, and that is truly how I feel, we might have some weak constitution people listening to us. If you are one of those... I extend to you this olive branch.
A false apology. Go ahead.
I'm sorry you feel that way.
I'm sorry you feel that way. A more perfunctory apology you could not get.
What? No. That come from the heart.
False.
You
cannot say, I'm sorry you feel that
kidneys.
way.
No.
You're supposed to say, I'm sorry. I messed up.
I didn't mess up.
But Dead Last, we played it with somebody, and they were like, they got hurt every time you got voted. You voted them out.
Yeah, they look sad
because sometimes you might vote for the same person 2 or 3 times in a row.
And those are the people that I go after. It's like once you get that blood in the water, you kind of know.
You weed out the weak real quick.
You weed out the weak. Okay. Call the weak.
I'm looking at one here that was in your collection. You kickstarted. We played it.
Why do you got to bring this up? I know you're going to bring up some poor Kickstarter.
Kickstarter, you were all about.
Yep.
You brought it to game day.
Okay.
We played it.
Don't remember it.
This is terrible.
What is it?
Tortuga.
Oh, 1776. Tortuga.
1667. You
Sorry,
were close.
I was thinking about the independence. Yeah. It's a hidden role game.
But not really.
Not really. And there's just... It's
dumb. I don't understand how within the first...
It comes in a neat box.
Okay, there. It's sold. Within the first play, you have to choose which side you're on.
It's very
and
tiresome.
if you're on one side, you pretty much definitely have to act a certain way, or else you're hurting yourself in the game. So the hidden role is really kind of pointless.
That was very much pointless.
But it plays 2 to 9 players, and we played with 6,
and it wasn't
sold.
any good. It's been sold. I will say this: that was truly a game that I think that if it had been less complicated in its little bitty. It was trying to do too many things at once. The game was not particularly complicated in its rules. It just tried to be hidden role, and then movement, and then all teams, and all these various things. And it just wasn't. It should have been more simple or simplified. I tell you what, another game that I liked more, and I haven't got to play it here recently, but because you own it, it's an OG game.
Osprey?
Yes.
Aliens and Escape from Escape from the Aliens in Outer Space.
That was such a stupid game when you first got it. And you have this little race markers and you're moving things around. And I just didn't think it's going to be fun. It's
the quick, super streamlined version of Letters from Whitechapel.
Yes. And you're just running around. And I think that the atmosphere of it, I just remember you were the alien and you kept making alien noises every time you were chasing us. And it was very awkward. But it was just...
And then I kept busting in on rims. I was like, kill! And there was nobody in there.
Nobody was in there. Like, literally, I walked in a straight line to the escape pod, and you're just running. You're serpentining back and forth. This kill here. Are you here? And I was like, no, I literally walked straight to the door, opened the door very slowly, and got in.
That has also been a successful game with people that... I didn't even play in this game. But DJ took it to a game night with some other dudes that are video gamers. They were having a video game party. They were playing.
What were they playing?
Like
Pokemon?
FIFA and stuff.
FIFA?
Sports games.
The soccer?
But he took Escape. Actually, it doesn't matter who took it, but he took Escape. They loved it.
Really?
They loved it. And they keep wanting to play it, and I keep not having a chance to get back to them.
Wow. I love it when people take something and it's awesome. I think I played...
And it plays, I think it plays up to 8 players, 2 to 8.
It's not a party game, but I played...
Why did you play 2 players?
One's the alien and one's the...
It says 2 to 8.
Person. You're just chasing me around. I'm Riley. Ripley. Riley. Who's Riley? I'm the male version of Ripley. I'm Ripley's cousin, Riley.
Escape from Aliens. That's Letters from Whitechapel plays 6.
Which is not a party game.
I wouldn't know.
No, it's not.
But
it's barely even a good game.
False.
It's tiresome.
It's in one of my favorite games of all time. It's an amazing game.
Favorite games of all time.
It does play 6, but I would not consider it a party game.
It's not a party game. There is no fun being had. No one's going
whatever
as you go around simulating the death of women of the night. In such a gruesome game that's something right there. It's Letters from Whitechapel.
No, that's not dissected. Just enjoy it.
The theme really puts a soft-hearted person like myself off.
Oh, whatever. We've seen how soft-hearted you are, calling people names throughout the podcast.
I haven't called anybody any names. Yeah, someone's going to call me out on the Twitter.
No.
That's okay.
No, nobody communicates with us.
No. Nobody will even send us an email.
No. We're begging you.
We're begging you to, yeah.
I had an idea for people. Oh, I know.
What's that?
I was going to say, if people want to contact us, at BoardGameSnobs at Gmail, BoardGameSnobs at Twitter, BoardGameSnobs on Instagram. Me and Board Game Diner, we kind of go back and forth on Instagram. We communicate.
Board Game Diner.
He's Giuseppe.
Oh, Giuseppe.
That's his Instagram name.
I'll be giving out his Instagram.
He's a friend of the show.
Oh.
But yeah, nobody communicates with us. We don't receive any ratings.
We don't need ratings.
I know. You want to be off on the edges.
We're in the podcast dark web.
But if you do want to contact us, please do. If you want to know something about us,
No.
email us.
I'm not giving out personal information.
Ask Jerry some personal information.
No, I'm not giving out personal information.
How many kids do you have?
I'll give you advice.
What's the last 4 of your social? Or driver's license. I'll take either one.
This has not been fun. I thought having a podcast about party games would be lighthearted and
No
fun.
way.
But rather, this has not been
Why?
fun. This just wasn't fun because I don't like party games.
Oh,
you made
why
me
are
talk
you
about things.
Well,
that
we
aren't-
haven't even discussed half of them.
Well, it's because half of them aren't that good. I talked about the ones that were good.
Okay, well, let me just cut to the chase.
Why don't you?
No, let me bloat this. Some
We're
more.
on.
Let's go.
Now, number 97 on my list. I was like, really?
Okay. Of number 51 on Board Game Geek, party games. Happy Salmon.
It's all right. It's an activity.
It's fun.
Next.
It's fun at parties.
Next. Happy
You're
Salmon.
so difficult.
Happy
You're
Salmon.
so difficult to do a podcast.
That's your
with.
gang name, isn't it? Happy Salmon.
That's my what?
Your gang name.
Gang night? You mean gaggle?
No.
Oh, yeah. Call back.
Go ahead.
Sorry. Time's up.
Nope.
Like it.
Nope.
Own it. Like it.
Blah.
Happy Salmon. Spyfall. You have that.
I actually enjoy it.
Yeah, I don't.
Well, there you go.
2 Rooms in a Boom. Played it.
Wow, I love 2 wombs in the boom, but
2
you got
Rooms.
you got to cut that. Did I say
That's
2 wombs?
different.
No,
Two
that's not-
wombs?
No, I can't. You know, I have trouble. My speech impediment. You know, I have trouble. I slur my words, and sometimes wombs and R's and all that. 2
2
rooms
Rooms in a Boom. That's a whole different show.
is a great convention game.
2 Rooms in a Boom.
Great convention game. I
So
got
you
to meet the
say.
co-designer. Michelle.
The co-designer, not even the main designer.
Well,
big deal.
There's multiple designers,
Hmm.
so they're all co-designers.
So there's no main designer.
No, that's how they work. You put 3 people in the box. Not one's the main guy, and these people helped.
So if you have a host and a co-host, is he the same as the host?
No,
Oh, so it's different.
no, I am the host.
So who's the host?
I think that's very obvious.
Oh, really?
Yes,
Okay. Concept. Terrible game.
terrible concept.
I don't like it. It's a party game. We've tried playing it, but it just doesn't work. It says 4 to 12.
Wow.
All right, but again, cutting to the chase. There's lots of party games out there. Apples to apples. Blah. Pictionary.
Oh, Dixit.
Instead of Pictionary, play Telestrations.
I don't play any of them. How about just go to the Goodwill? You can buy all those for cheap.
Quite a few of them you can. Of my favorite party games, however, I do enjoy Telestrations. If you're going to have people that don't play
They're
games,
over 65.
they don't play games, but if they enjoy, what about? Oh, that only plays 5. Time's up. Telestrations with families that you have over to your house and they've never played games before. You can play that. Dixit.
I'm not big
play
on
that.
families.
If you get some people that are willing to play code names, that's
Code
a good
names
introduced one.
is pretty decent.
But if you get some people that are willing to get a little more gamey, Coup, Deception, Murder in Hong Kong, Escape from the Aliens in Outer Space. That would be my recommendations.
If I had to give recommendations, and my recommendations are consistently better than copies, I would definitely say Deception, pretty good. Escape from the Aliens Out of Space, OG, that is really good. I would skip
Two of the
on.
exact same I've said.
I would skip on Coup though and go with either Skull
Oh, my bad. Forgot Skull.
and
I have it
of
written
course
down.
people go back and forth on Resistance being a good game. I'm almost leaning towards, if I had to pick one of those, either doing Secret Hitler or Dead Last.
Oh, Dead Last is good.
Dead Last is good.
As long as you have people that don't get their feelings hurt.
Yeah. So if you're playing with a bunch of easily sensitive people, perhaps don't play something called Dead Last.
Agreed.
Well, that was a good podcast, I think, for what it was, considering that you're making me talk about something I don't want to talk about.
Jerry hates fun.
I hate
Remember
party
that.
games. I like Define Euro.
What do you like?
Not party games.
Okay. Well, that's 40 minutes. That's about good.
Follow us on Twitter,
Or don't.
Instagram,
Jerry doesn't care.
Tumblr,
He never checks it.
Board Game Guild, or Guild on Board Game Geek,
Until next time, I'm
Gmail
Gobby,
us.
the primary host.
at the Board Game Snobs.
My co-host, Jerry.
I'm Jerry, the Supreme Allied Commander host. And
We'll see you next time.
bye.